In this video, we're going to use coordinates to identify a specific type of quadrilateral. And it's going to be a two-step process. Step one is going to be to check the congruency of the sides. Once we know what's going on with sides, that will take us down one of two roads. After that, we're going to go check the congruency of the diagonal. Now, knowing whether our sides are congruent and whether our diagonals are congruent will help us narrow it down to just one quadrilateral. And in that, here's what I mean. If you have two pairs of sides that are congruent, you might have two sets of values in the case of a parallelogram or also in the case of a rectangle. So that's what I mean by the sides will lead us down to one of two paths. The only other option then would be when we're checking the congruency of sides is to get all four sides the same, which would take us down the road of either a square or a rhombus. So after we're done assessing the side lengths, we're either narrowed down to just parallelogram and rectangle, or we're narrowed down to rhombus and a square. So that's when we move on to the diagonals. If we have sides that are essentially two distinct numbers and the diagonals are not congruent, then we must be dealing with a parallelogram. If we're dealing with sides that have two distinct values and the diagonals are congruent, then we're dealing with a rectangle. Conversely, if we look at the side lengths and all four side lengths are the same and the diagonals are not, it must be a rhombus. And if all four diagonals are the same and the diagonals are as well, must be a square. Now, basically what we're saying is we're going to have to do the distance formula 6 times. Let's move on and try one. As always, some helpful critical advice. Draw a quick sketch first. This will help you identify the segments you need to find the length of and lessen any confusion. So first and foremost, let's draw a quick sketch. So, if you were doing this by hand, I'm not saying you have to have a perfect grid, although you can always ask me for graph paper to draw it, but just a quick sketch and kind of just drop in A, B, C, and D and draw yourself a quick little sketch to identify what you think this might be. Now, of course, my drawing over here is a little bit more accurate, and the more accurate, the better off you are. So again, I would probably ask for the graph paper. It looks like that the answer to this is a rectangle. Now, this isn't good enough. What we need to show is that indeed that DC is congruent to BA and that CB is congruent to DA, and also that CA is congruent to DB. Well, how are we going to do all that? Well, first we're just going to go find the lengths of BA, CD, and these should be the same. Then we're going to find the lengths of CB and DA, and those should be the same. And then we're going to find the lengths of CA and DB. Now, if this is a rectangle, these are going to be the same. If it's just a parallelogram, and perhaps maybe this is an 89 degree angle, I don't know. And maybe this is 91 degrees, I don't know. If that's the case, the diagonals won't be the same. So if these lock up to be the same, then yes, we're going to say it's a rectangle. If not, we're going to say this is a parallelogram. But I think it's pretty safe to say that there's no way this is a square or a rhombus. Those four sides are obviously, by eyesight, not the same. So go ahead and engage in the distance formula for these 6 lengths. And keep in mind up here that the distance formula has been provided, so you should go ahead and show all of the work necessary to provide these lengths. And again, just letting you know that this should come out to be either a rectangle or a parallelogram, and what happens right here should help you answer which one it is. I've given you a select set of answers to just kind of keep you on track. When you're done, check it in with me, or if you feel confident, keep moving on. Okay, and number 2, we're just going to draw a sketch. And again, I just kind of imported enough so that I could draw a nice and accurate sketch. So go ahead and press pause and draw your sketch and then match it up with mine. So you should have something that looks similar to mine. And so what do you feel? It looks like it could be either a rhombus, right, if all four sides are congruent, or I think maybe a parallelogram. But undoubtedly, this is not a square. This is not a rectangle. If it's a rhombus, we're going to have four congruent sides. And if not, we're going to have two pairs of congruent sides. So first we need to determine what RS is, and then we're going to look at QT, right? Those are the opposite sides. And then we're going to look at QR, and we also have to look at TS. Now, there's no way around this, right? There's no circumventing, right? There's no way around finding the lengths of these sides. Now, if we have all sides are alike, then we're going to go and investigate RT, or even if all four sides are not alike, we're still going to investigate RT and QS. Now, if, for instance, if these are all the same, and we look at the diagonals, we should find that diagonals are not congruent, because if they are, that would mean that this is a square and that our eyes are really messed up. But nonetheless, we need the lengths of all of these sides. So again, I'm just going to give you a little helping hand for some of this, and then you can move on and check it out for yourself. So here's what I'm going to give you. Just the length of RS is the square root of 13. You can find the others on your own. I'll give you the length of RT is the square root of 16, which is a perfect square, and the square root for QS is also going to work out to be a perfect square. And at the end, you'll have to answer whether or not this is a square, a rhombus, a parallelogram, or a rectangle. Let the numbers do the deciding, and we'll go from there. Then move on. So I just wanted to draw a rough sketch to show you that even a rough sketch isn't too bad. Now this initial point, 5, -1, was J. 8, 2 was K, 11, 10 was L, and 8, 7 was M. So I'm going to need to find the lengths of ML and JK. Those are opposite sides. They should be congruent. Then I'm going to find LK and MJ. Those are opposite sides. They should be congruent. And after that, I should narrow myself down to looks like a rhombus or a parallelogram. So I'm either going to get two pairs of sides congruent or all four sides congruent. Then I'm going to analyze the diagonals, MK and JL. And if the diagonals are congruent, it must be a square. If all four sides are congruent and the diagonals are congruent, it must be a square. If I have two pairs of congruent sides and the diagonals are congruent, then I must be a rectangle. And again, this doesn't look like a rectangle or a square to me. It looks like it's either a parallelogram or a rhombus. And so I think I'm going to figure things out pretty quickly. And that's about all I'm going to give you on this one. You have the side lengths. For number 4, you're going to be all on your own on this one. So for number 4, draw the sketch, come up with the 6 side lengths, and decide what you have here, all right? And then check it in. So when you're done with all 4, check it in with me, and we'll see how things are going for you. All right, good luck. Don't forget, sketch first.